Hold up.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Foxy90 here, and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on my channel. Today we are back with round 11 of my F1 2016 career mode season 2 with Mercedes-Benz. In the previous episode, it was my home Grand Prix at the British Grand Prix. If you haven't watched that one yet, I highly do recommend you go and watch that video. You'll be able to check that out on my channel. But for today's video, we are here in Hungary for the Hungarian Grand Prix. We're not going to be making any upgrades for today's, or in this Grand Prix here in Hungary, because I don't believe we had enough resource points actually to do the upgrade which I wanted, which was actually the chassis weight. I wanted to reduce the weight of my chassis. However, I was about like 20 resource points short, so I couldn't do the upgrade. So instead, we're just going to have to go around here, do all the practice sessions in Hungary, and get that chassis weight ready for the German Grand Prix, which will be next after this one. So as we go into the track acclimatization, you can see that we get a purple on there, making sure that we get the maximum amount of resource points for that. Moving on to the tyre wear test, you can see that my tyre wear bar actually goes all the way to the very top there. So the best possible lap I could have done on those tyres, and we get maximum resource points there as well. And finally, onto the qualifying simulation run. Round the final corner we come here, and we're going to be coming through to take another set of 50 resource points from this session. Maximum resource points taken from practice, so a very strong looking result for us there. As you can see, our resource points are beginning to stack up now as we look to be upgrading the chassis weight ready for Germany, and then get ready to hopefully try and get some more straight line speed in my car ready for the next two races of the Italian Grand Prix and the Belgian Grand Prix. So two tracks that I'll be looking to try and get some wins around at the moment. But as you can see, the qualifying goals have been set by my team. You saw them there on your screens. Into Q1 we go. Round the final corner we come here, and preparing to open the DRS. Little short race down to the finish line here, and we come through and qualify in second place here in Q1. It must be said, I was not quick round here. Did not have a lot of pace. I'm putting my hands up right now. The pace round here in Hungary for me and my Mercedes was not very good indeed at all, and I was struggling all weekend to get the car set up really for this Hungarian Grand Prix. Coming around the final corner again, and then going across the line, you can see we actually only got 6th place there in Q2, so a bad result for us. Into Q3 we come then, so we still made it into Q3 nevertheless. We're coming around the final corner now, and we're looking to try and maximize as much speed as we can to try and get some damage limitation here for this qualifying session, because we're not going to be aiming for pole position. And then at the end of the day, it actually ends up being 3rd, which we dropped down to 5th. So a bad qualifying session for myself. My teammate Hamilton gets pole position, followed by the two Red Bulls, followed by Sebastian Vettel, followed by myself. A bad qualifying session. We struggled a lot in the middle sector of the lap. We lost about half a second to nearly a second in the middle sector. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with that. In the driver rivalry, we're still ahead of Lewis Hamilton, but he's definitely closed in on us thanks to that. And as you can see here, losing out a lot of driver point stuff. We're going to listen into the session objectives now set by Emma, which are always the same. They never really change. And there are the race goals there. So we've got a lot of work to do in this Grand Prix. We're going to get the win here. So let's get into the race for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
We've seen some astonishing Grand Prix here over the years, haven't we? The drama of 2015 is a recent example. Jenson Button's first win on a wet track in 2006, or in 1997, Damon Hill's heartbreak in the Arrows after a late gearbox failure cost him what would have been the team's only ever victory. What a wonderful place this is to come racing today. Located 12 miles northeast of the Hungarian capital Budapest, the 14 corners of the Hungaroring are steeped in history and prestige. Overtaking has always been difficult on this technical 2.7-mile circuit, but the last few years in particular have turned up some exceptional races. Let's hope we're in for another one here today. As the drivers complete their preparations down below us on the grid, one man who's no stranger to the pre-race pressure is Anthony Davidson, who joins me in the commentary box today. Great to have you with us, Ant. I'm sure you can tell us all about what goes through a driver's head before lights out.
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn one. It's all a bit like going into battle. And the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
We're performing really well so far this season. Keep this up and you'll be the team's #1 driver in no time.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Vettel, a Mercedes, and Alonso, Raikkonen, Button, Grosjean, and Esteban Gutierrez, Massa, Haryanto, Pascal Wehrlein, and Kvyat, Perez, Hulkenberg, Carlos Sainz, and Valtteri Bottas, Nasser and Magnussen, Marcus Ericsson, and Jolyon Palmer rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alright then guys, as you can see we are on the grid now for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm going to be starting the race on the super soft tyres and then going to the soft tyres for the end of the race. So we're going to be starting things off with the formation lap as we always do. And we'll be looking to try and get in front of as many drivers as we can. It's a long run down to turn 1, so you never know. If we can get a good start, we may be able to bring ourselves right up in contention with the leaders. I would preferably like to get ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Vettel's sort of the cork in the bottle for me, because the Red Bulls and the Mercedes are the fastest cars on the field. The Ferraris have dropped off a lot. But anyway, as you can see now, we have got 3, 4, now 5 red lights for this Hungarian Grand Prix. And it is lights out and away we go for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And we did exactly what we wanted. We jumped ahead of Vettel, but Ricciardo has had a bad start himself. We're going to go straight past Daniel Ricciardo. Max Verstappen leads this Grand Prix. But guess what? We're diving it down the inside. And from 5th on the grid, down the inside of Max Verstappen, we take the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Give a bit of space for Verstappen around the outside, but he tucks in right behind us. We went into rich fuel mixture for that run down to turn 1. And it's a perfect start for us in our Mercedes car. We have done exactly what, well, I've done a lot more than I set out to do. I was not expecting to take the lead of this race, but we have done just that, and now we have got control of the pack here as we come now through towards this middle sector of the circuit, which was my weakest part on the entire circuit. I was over a second slower in the middle sector against all the other AI drivers, so I really need to work on that. Down into the chicane now. Do not take as much curb as you need to, because you can maximize your speed without taking as much of the curbing. Now coming through these high-speed lefts and right-handers. Really want to get your racing line sorted out here. I wasn't too bad on this first lap. You can see here into this left-hander. Could have got a little bit closer to the curb, braking for this right-hander. Too much curb there, and that cost me a little bit of speed and exit and traction there. Down into the penultimate set of corners. We nailed the corner there quite nicely there and hitting the apex. There's a plane in front of us. Down into the second to last corner, turning in a little bit earlier. Should have turned in a bit later, compromising my exit speed, but it's not a problem. Round the final corner we go now. You can kind of take any turn that you want for this one here. We stick directly onto the racing line, chuck the car onto the curb there. Nice exit, round the final corner, and there it is. Fastest lap of the race so far. That is us into P1 for the Hungarian Grand Prix. A brilliant start from us here. And we now have control of this race, and we can control what goes on behind. But let's get a replay of that start then. So we jumped Sebastian Vettel, who actually got jumped by a McLaren. We jumped Ricciardo as well. And then I saw the run down the inside line. I was close enough than I thought to Verstappen and Hamilton because of the slipstream on my Mercedes engine. So I dive bombed it down the inside, and it worked perfectly for us. And surprisingly, actually, at the end of the first lap, there is no safety car. As you remember, back in Azerbaijan, we had a safety car because of a massive... well, actually because of Sebastian Vettel crashing into the pit wall. Then we also had a safety car I just said about to say the same thing. We had a safety car in Austria for a lap 2 incident, which caused my front wing to come off. And then in the previous race in the British Grand Prix, we had a safety car for a first lap incident. So for the first time so far, and I say so far because you know who knows what can happen around here with these crazy AI drivers, we do not have a safety car, which means that our first stint on these soft tyres will not be wasted, and we don't need to do the safety car pit-in strategy because there is no point, because the safety car has not come out. So we will be able to do the entirety of this super soft run without being any safety car interruptions. Coming around the final corner now, you can see a very nice angle here of all the cars just swooping around here. And round to the final corner we come now. I was meant to say the second to last corner. You can see us there, Verstappen just behind there. And we lead ahead of Verstappen, Ricciardo, the pole sitter Lewis Hamilton, my teammate, dropping down the order from first on the grid. So he's going to definitely want to get past these Red Bulls. But you can already see the top 4 starting to just creep away a little bit now from Sebastian Vettel in 5th in the Ferrari. Coming around the chicane now, you can see that not a lot's going on here on lap 3 of the Grand Prix. We're starting to build a little bit of a margin over the field, actually. But it's here. Yellow flags have happened, and there it is, guys. Max Verstappen is out of the Hungarian Grand Prix, going through that difficult S section. His engine has blown up, and crucially, that's built myself a little bit of a gap, because as soon as Verstappen blew up, Ricciardo had to stay behind Verstappen until he pulled off the track. So we actually gained about 2 seconds from that. So brilliant stuff there. Not only is our constructors' rival from Mercedes, Red Bull, lost one of their drivers, but we now have one less person trying to attack me out of this race. Luckily, now coming on to lap 6 of the Grand Prix, we're coming into the pits for what is going to be our first pit stop. I felt really, really good on the super soft tyres. Really enjoyed using them, actually. But we decided to come in to make our pit stop onto the soft tyres. Hamilton continues onwards for another lap here. Unfortunately, I had got held up by Vettel and by Ricciardo, so I had to wait for them to come past. And actually, Ricciardo got held up by myself coming out of the pits, so Vettel gets in front of Ricciardo. But I felt really good on those super soft tyres. Hamilton and Ricciardo were starting to come back at me a little bit, but they weren't closing up as much on me as I thought. So at the moment, on the super soft tyres, I've got the race pace. I did not have any pace in qualifying, but in the race, I've certainly switched things up a notch. But coming now down towards turn 2 here, we're actually stuck in a little bit of a tangle here with Marcus Ericsson, I believe. And Marcus Ericsson has just gone straight into the back of our Mercedes car there. A terrible mistake from Marcus Ericsson here. So as you can see, he sort of just turns into our car. But it's even worse for him because Vettel just comes and whacks his front tyre there. And that's going to be it's Felipe Nasser, actually, my bad. Felipe Nasser is out of the race. I went into the inside and around the outside of turn 2. I had the position covered, but the game sort of has a very strange hit radius glitch. Unfortunately, Felipe Nasser could not withstand that. He spun around and Vettel just went straight into the back of him there. So really unfortunate there for Felipe Nasser. He's out of the race. And Sebastian Vettel, actually unfortunate for him as well, because he suffered lots of damage on his front wing for the incident with Felipe Nasser. So unfortunate there for Vettel, as we're now going to be showing the rest of this lap. And we need to be honest. And this is going to get crucial. Lewis Hamilton is into the pits. Now, Hamilton, I don't know what Hamilton's outlap was. However, my outlap was pretty, I mean, I had to battle Felipe Nasser, and I had to go around the outside of him when we made contact. And I got held up in the pits for at least 2 or 3 seconds due to Vettel and Ricciardo coming into the pits at the same time. Meaning that I've actually lost a lot of ground. So, there is a possibility that Hamilton could get in front of us. But we set a personal best final sector. And there is Lewis Hamilton. We do manage to stay in front of Lewis Hamilton. But there is no doubt that Lewis Hamilton has completely closed, has closed the gap quite considerably to myself on lap 8 of this Hungarian Grand Prix. As we look to try and extend our lead now. And make sure that Hamilton doesn't mount any sort of challenge. Moving on to lap 9 of the Grand Prix, and my pace on the super soft tyres was definitely there. However, on these yellow marked soft tyres, they weren't. We struggled a lot on these soft tyres, and it's proving because Lewis Hamilton is coming at us quick. And now we've got a Mercedes battle for the lead of this race coming on here. And Lewis Hamilton would absolutely love to get past me. I'm going to move to the right-hand side of the circuit, give Hamilton the freedom of the left-hand side of the circuit, the racing line. But I've got the inside line down into turn 1. A little bit of tyre banging there, but we managed to keep in front of Lewis Hamilton, as he's definitely going to be starting piling on the pressure a lot more than just one lap. So we now need to get our defensive caps on, if we have any defensive caps. I don't really know. I'll have to go and check somewhere. Yeah, stay ahead of Hamilton. Moving on to lap 10 of the Grand Prix, skipping towards lap 11 of this Grand Prix. And you can see we've got a nice, beautiful camera angle here of my rear wing. So you can see exactly Lewis Hamilton coming right behind us. You can see the DRS and the slipstream as he moves to the rear of the car. We're going to go and he goes to the left, he goes to the right-hand side of the circuit. We're going to push him wide a little bit. Now it's going to affect Hamilton's run down into turn 1. We actually break a lot more than we would into turn 1 because I tried to switch back, but it completely failed. And Hamilton takes the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. But down into turn 2, we're not going to give this one up just yet. We get right behind Hamilton's exhaust there, and we are super close to him. Down into turn 3. Can we make a move? Not quite. We're going to stick in the slipstream of Lewis Hamilton as we try and think of something. But we're going to go around the inside into turn 4. Clip the curb there. Fantastic move for us there. Round the inside into turn 4. A move that you never really see around this Hungarian track. You only really see it into turn 1 or into turn 2. However, we did the impossible and went round the inside into turn 4. And I can confirm I had just 2 wheels off the circuit. So it was a clean move. Otherwise, I would have been told to give that place back. Now, as you can see, lap 12 of the Grand Prix. Took Hamilton about a lap or 2 to get back onto our tail, but he's back there. And now Ricciardo is crucially closing in on our scrap at the front. So as you can see, Hamilton goes to the right-hand side of the circuit once again. DRS activated this time. We're not going to go for a switchback like we did last time. We're just going to stick it around the outside. Through the banking corner, you're going to wait, and poof, there goes Hamilton. He is in front of us. I don't know what that sound was earlier. Breaking down the inside into turn 2 now. Lewis Hamilton has to give up the position there, as you'll see just in a second, forcing Hamilton wide there. He now has to defend from Ricciardo, who I believe does get in front of Hamilton, or maybe not. I'm not quite sure. In fact, the two of them started battling a bit. You can see small gap coming up now, which is crucial here as we go super wide on the exit of turn 4 there. Hamilton stays in front of Ricciardo. Lap 16 of the Grand Prix, Daniel Ricciardo gets past Lewis Hamilton at one stage. I don't know where he got past, but now Ricciardo fancies ruining the celebration here at Mercedes, and he wants to get in on the action and try and take this first place away from us. So coming down the straight, Ricciardo goes to the left-hand side of the circuit this time, so not the right-hand side. Hamilton's following in with DRS. Down the inside, late braking maneuver here. We managed to get straight past Ricciardo. I decide to force Ricciardo wide a little bit, and he hits Hamilton on the exit there. I force Ricciardo wide onto the curbing to try and make sure that Hamilton can maintain his position, or try and get second place back for Mercedes' constructors' purposes. However, Ricciardo's having none of it and went straight into the side of Hamilton. Breaking down into the penultimate corner here on lap 17 of the Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo looking to seize another move on us here, as now we go around the final corner here, entering towards the final lap of this Grand Prix here. You can see that Lewis Hamilton here, not Lewis Hamilton, it's Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo now looking for a way past, as you can see. He's got the DRS now. We're not going to have a replay camera angle for this one. You can see that he moves to the right-hand side of the circuit this time, breaking nice and late down the inside into turn 1. We give Ricciardo the space to go around the inside, but he does not make it count. And overall there, Daniel Ricciardo has to sit behind us for another lap here. Down into turn 3 we go now. Turn 2, sorry. We go, and we managed to maintain P1 here in this Hungarian Grand Prix, but it's been an intense battle up the front here between me, Ricciardo and Hamilton. Moving on towards the end of the lap now, we are coming around the second to last corner here as we try and hold our position against Daniel Ricciardo, and the onslaught from Ricciardo and Hamilton is no match for me. Round the final corner we go. We've had a big battle today at the second stint against Ricciardo and Hamilton, but for the first time in this 2016 career mode with Mercedes, we managed to get back-to-back wins for the first time. That's the first time this season that we have achieved consecutive Grand Prix victories. Of course, every single race at the moment has just been no win, then a win, then we didn't win, then we won, then we didn't win, then we won. However, this time we managed to get the consecutive victories. We won in the previous race in Silverstone, which was quite an easy race for me in Silverstone. However, here in Hungary, it was a long, hard-fought battle. As soon as the second pit stop, as soon as we came out of the pits onto those yellow mark soft tyres, I really couldn't get those soft tyres working in that race. On the red mark super soft tyres, even though Max Verstappen held up Ricciardo and Hamilton because he had an engine failure, when Verstappen was still racing, I was still managing to minutely build a gap, and I had cleared DRS. I was about 1.1 to 1.2 seconds clear of Max Verstappen, and of course, even when Verstappen retired then from the race and held up Hamilton and Ricciardo, the gap was still being maintained between me and him, meaning that, you know, it was sort of, I was happy on those red mark super soft tyres. Switching to the yellow mark super soft tyres, I just didn't have any pace whatsoever, and of course Hamilton and Ricciardo came at me super quick there, and they nearly took away the win from us, but we managed to hold on. Some great defensive driving, especially that inside line move into turn 4, and Lewis Hamilton was just so gutsy for myself. I had to make it stick because I just wouldn't be able to keep up with Hamilton otherwise. But yeah, in the driver standings, we now increase our championship lead even further to what I believe is now 48 points, or yeah, I think it's 48 points now. You can see it on your screens right there in front of Lewis Hamilton with Ricciardo and Max Verstappen finishing pointless. In the constructors standings, Mercedes increased their advantage over Red Bull thanks to Verstappen again not finishing this race, and me and Hamilton coming through to finish first and third. But that is going to be it then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Guys, if you have enjoyed the race today, a lot of action in this Grand Prix, especially in the second stint, trying to defend the lead against Hamilton and Ricciardo. Drop a like on it, that'd be absolutely awesome. Subscribe if you're around here as well. We just managed to beat Lewis Hamilton in the rivalry for Mercedes, so that's something that is really impressive, and that's actually going to increase our driver position all the way back to the top where it should be, and there you go, all sorted there. Career score no one cares about, and that's all going to be in. And the team have actually given us an update saying that they are very happy with the progress that I'm making at Mercedes at the moment, which is absolutely awesome. But apart from that, guys, I do believe that we make that chassis weight upgrade, and then that is going to be it for this entire Hungarian Grand Prix weekend. So we're going to go to the R&D development system now, and we're going to go and increase or upgrade the chassis weights. So there it is, guys. I will see you next for the German Grand Prix. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.